Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Tracey Devlyn, and I'm here with author Vikki Wakefield to talk about her new thriller, The Backwater. Welcome to the show, Vikki.
Hi, Tracy. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, and I'm very happy that you were able to make it on the show with us, all the way from Australia. In case you did not pick up her lovely accent there, we really appreciate you. I know that is it in early morning there? Is that
It is not too early now. I've actually
okay?
managed to have everyone leave the house, but yeah,
Okay.
it's still early morning. Yeah,
Okay, great, great. Well, one of the interesting things that well, at least I think it's interesting that publishing houses do is that they're not afraid of changing up the book cover or even the title, depending on what country they're in. So in the US, you have this beautiful cover and it's titled The Backwater. But we were talking before I hit the record button in this Australia and the UK, it's called something totally different, isn't it?
it is, and I'm actually really excited to see that copy in your hand because I
Yeah.
I don't have my own copy yet. So this
Oh,
is
okay.
the first time I've seen it live, which is really
Okay. Nice.
um
It's
here in
beautiful.
Australia. It's
It's absolutely
called
beautiful.
To the River.
To the river. Okay.
Yes, and also in the UK, it's also called To the River. So it's
Okay.
same story,
Yeah.
different title, different cover. The US cover is just incredible. I love it. It's
Yeah, it has the tones of purple, which is one of my favorite colors. So that I'm
yes.
always very drawn to covers with that in there.
Mm.
Do you, this is just kind of a fun question here, but do you find it hard whenever you're doing these interviews like this? Do you have to remember, oh, I'm talking to a US podcaster, so I've got to call it the backwater versus if you were talking to somebody in the UK, or that isn't a
Uh,
problem for you?
I only just really mastered that. I think I did used to just mention both titles just to cover myself, but it's
Yeah.
yeah, um I think of it as both titles now. It doesn't feel like one fits more than the other. It's the same story. It just yeah, the backwater is incredibly evocative and I'm very happy with that title.
Yeah, yeah, it sure is. I was going to have you, once we get into talking about the book, for you to explain exactly what a backwater is for those city
Right.
slickers out there who might not be familiar with the term. But before we do that, why don't you get us started and just tell us a little bit about yourself and your writing journey, just whatever you'd like to share.
Sure. Well, I've been writing for as long as I can remember, in some form or another, but I've only been publishing for about 15 years now. Prior to that, I was, in communications, journalism. I've always dealt with the written word, but I think my heart has always been with reading and fiction. So pretty exciting a very silly time to start writing a book. I had a 2-year-old at the time, so it was pretty ambitious, but it all tended to work out. And since then, I've been writing. My first 5 novels were for young adults, actually. I've been writing for young adults for quite some time. Um, but I adore reading crime and thrillers and psychological suspense. So I thought, well, I can write more than one thing. I'm going to have a crack at being a crime writer.
Yeah, well, you did an amazing job. So
Thank you.
that's great. That's great. So why don't you get us just give us a quick overview of the backwater, and again, just explain maybe if you can what the backwater is.
Sure. See, whenever I'm asked this question, every word I've written in the book rushes into my head, and I think, how can I
Yes,
condense
it's
this?
hard.
Um, so we'll begin with the backwater, which is an offshoot from a river, like a major river. And in Australia, we have a river here called the Murray, which is immense and extraordinary landscape. And these offshoots wind through alongside the river and take you into little places, that people don't go. And you also find homes in there and families and people, or people who are hiding, which always fascinated me. There seem to be quite reclusive people along these branches of the river. So that's kind of where the story sprung from. And so I guess we're talking about two women here. Sabine Kelly, who is a fugitive who's been on the run for 12 years. She's accused of having murdered 9 people, including her mother and sister, in a caravan park fire where she lived. And Rachel, who is a ex-journalist who's been made redundant from motherhood, and she's of that age where she's starting to feel invisible. And then we have these two women who have to come together. Rachel, because she needs a story to sort of revive her career, her flagging career, and to make her feel important again. And Sabine has been successfully hiding on the river, which is, she just travels up and down the river with her dog Blue on an old houseboat and manages to stay, undercover. But then Rachel actually blows her cover, and these two women have to learn to come together in a way. I wouldn't call them friends, and they're very, very different. But they have to come together to actually stay alive, because someone out there doesn't want Sabine's story to be told.
Yeah, yeah. And it's
Yeah.
written in dual point of view. You'll have Sabine's point of view and you'll have Rachel's point of view. And also there's like a dual timeline to it as well, right? So there's an early
It is.
2000s and then it kind of moves up towards I think 2019 if I remember correctly. Uh,
That's right. Yeah.
how hard was it for you to keep those things straight in your head? Did you have a timeline board or you were just able to naturally, organically keep up with it?
I don't think I do anything naturally or organically. I wish I could. Every book that I write is a battle from start to finish. And I tend to overcomplicate things because I'm so interested in backstory and who people are and who they become. And I struggle to write a story in the present that does not go back to the past to figure out how these people got here. So while it would have been much easier for me to either write one perspective and one timeline, I just couldn't do it. There was too much in this story to unpack. So I had to go back into the past and find out how Sabine got in the situation that she's in, and also allude to what brought Rachel to this point in her life where she's going to um, change in quite remarkable ways. Um, so yeah, dual dual timeline. That's a nightmare for me. I'm actually terrible with timeline. I will push on with the writing and then quite often go back and try to make the timeline fit. But I've learned that I should not do that. And I try now to try and keep things in order as I go rather than just let my mind shoot too far ahead with the story.
Yeah,
Mm. So yeah,
yeah.
not easy. And I hope that I think that that's my process, though. I can't write a very contained story. It tends to sprawl out and become unmanageable at some point.
Yeah, they all do at some point,
Mm.
don't they? Whether it's dual timeline or not, there's at some point you just, or at least I have, you just get lost in the story, and I know that's when I have to go back and kind of read from the beginning and
Mm.
catch up. And so, yeah, that happens to me just with a linear timeline. So I can't imagine dual
And
timeline. I haven't tried that yet, so.
I do recommend, I mean, you would know that it's mostly easier to have your timeline running as you're writing and try to pack it in rather than go back and fix it all later. But
Yeah,
it is what it
yeah.
is, and our process evolves, and we just kind of roll with it.
It
Mm.
sure does. It sure does. Well, Sabine is a very strong protagonist, and just the thought that she has remained a fugitive and obviously hasn't been caught for so many years is amazing. And it's such a unique and interesting protagonist. You've created a very unique and interesting protagonist there. And I do love her dog Blue. I want a Blue in my life. But I was curious if where the inspiration for Sabine came from. Do you recall where what sparked her in your mind or not?
It could be any number of things that sparks a character like Sabine, and she will
Mhm.
evolve as I imagine scenes in my head and have characters into play. My characters will always start off very two-dimensional and then just slowly build and build. And probably because I go through upwards of 30 drafts of whatever
Oh,
I'm writing, it surprises me too that they go from me not knowing them at all to me knowing everything about them, so that they're almost um, I understand their motivations. I know what they're going to do. And
yeah.
yeah, I guess maybe it's similar to acting, when you get to know a
Mhm.
character so well that you can anticipate what they will say and what they'll do in any situation. But sometimes
Mhm.
they surprise you. Sabine is very much the characters I've written have always come from fairly, I guess, challenging circumstances, lower socio-economic backgrounds, difficult upbringings, abusive pasts, that kind of thing. Um, so it's not, Sabine was not a surprise to me. I've written similar characters before. That is my perspective on life, is to bring those stories to more people, I guess, because
Yeah.
you don't know until you've lived something. So
Yeah, yeah. Now the boat, the houseboat that she kind of tooled up and down the river on, is that something that you have had experience with, or did you have to do a lot of research on that, or because it felt very it was very visual for me as I was reading it, very evocative, and so I was curious if that was something you've done or had experience with, or just great research.
thank you. That's nice to hear that it's evocative, because setting to me is super important. I feel like it gives me a base tone for a whole story. So it quite often comes from either some kind of fascination or fear that I have with a setting or an
Okay.
environment. And the river for me is this incredibly beautiful place, but also it has undercurrents. It's dangerous, things can be taken from you, things can be hidden. There's just I mean, you can have a blast with the metaphors when you're
Yeah.
talking about such an amazing environment. um, but I guess, like a lot of people I was writing this book during COVID, and like a lot of humans across the planet, life changed quite dramatically, and things didn't go to plan. So my research for this book was less being in place than actually doing a lot of strange research, because I was limited. At that point, we were in some kind of lockdown. People weren't about allowed to venture too far out.
Mm,
The river is about an hour from my house, so I couldn't get there as often as I wanted. And then to
yeah.
top it all off, in the story, we're talking about a river that's actually suffering quite badly, and we're talking about drought. And strangely, the time that I did plan to go up there and spend a couple of weeks on a houseboat, it flooded. So
Oh, wow.
there was
Wow. Darn.
yeah, it was less research in place that I would normally do. I want to sit in a place, I want to be with the people, and I want to soak it up. But I had less of that this time. Luckily, I have a lot of memories. So um,
Okay.
yeah, it's the river, and we're actually looking at another flood. We're experiencing quite
Oh,
extreme weather here now at the moment, and it's well, that can be good for a river to have the water come through. It's not so great for the people. So
right. Right.
mm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll go behind the scenes a little bit, switch it up here just a smidge. What's your favorite thing to do when you finished a book? How do you celebrate that? Because it's a huge accomplishment every time. It doesn't matter how many books you've written. It's always something that seems like it needs to be celebrated. How do you treat yourself?
Sure. Celebration, absolutely. I mean, you would know it's generally it's not an easy thing. Otherwise, we would do it more often.
Yeah.
And I'm a slow writer too. It takes me um, 2, 3, even 4 years to write a book because I am quite meticulous about getting to know my characters. Um, I celebrate by keeping it to myself for quite a while. I actually prefer to know that this story is whole and just to sit with it for a while and wait for something else to pop up, because once I let it go, it's not just me and the words
Mm,
anymore. It belongs to more people. My editor gets involved. Um, as you know, story, while it's in here and then it makes it to the page and then it makes it to the wider world, and it's less yours the further it
yeah.
gets along in that
Yeah.
stage. So my celebrations tend to be quiet and more of a feeling of just, private satisfaction that this thing, at some point was beating me, and then but it came together, and at the end of it all, I'm always like deeply in love with my characters, and I just want to be with them for a little while before I press send.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds
Mm.
great. That sounds great.
And wine may be involved as well, but
Absolutely. Little
yeah.
adult beverage there, you bet.
Yes.
Tell us about a recent book that you have read and loved, and maybe why, if you don't mind.
Sure. um I think I'm loving at the moment a writer called Charlotte McConaughey, who's written Once There Were Wolves, and another one that escapes me about migration. And I've just bought her new one.
Oh,
She has this beautiful mix of thriller and ecological kind of, I don't know, is it? I guess she anticipates. I find her books quite visionary,
okay.
and the writing is exquisite, and the characters are really easy to relate to. And yeah, she's an incredible writer, and I think she would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll forever read whatever she writes. So I'm going to read her new one soon and enjoy that.
I think I have once There Were Wolves sitting
Mm,
in my audiobook that I haven't read yet. Because
yeah,
as soon as you said that, it was familiar, and I'm pretty sure I haven't been able to get to it yet. But yeah,
yeah.
I think I have that one. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
It's I mean, I'm not bringing this isn't a revelation to anyone. I know that lots of people have read and loved Charlotte's work. So yeah, I hope you do get to listen to it. It's a remarkable
Yeah.
book. Mm,
Okay, great. I'm going to have to push that up to my very long to be read pile for sure, for sure. Well, before we go, can you tell us what's up next for you? Maybe what you're working on now, or if you're working on, have any
sure.
special projects you could talk about?
I am writing number 3 at the moment, which is in the kicking my butt phase. So it's I spend a lot of time staring into space and having people talk to me and get no reply. I think I'm going to problem solving mode. So yes, this one is about women in organised crime and how they fit into such a
Interesting.
male dominated world. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
interesting.
it's tricky.
Ah,
So, and again, I've gone with multiple timelines and multiple perspectives. So I didn't make it any easier on myself. Um,
yeah, that's great.
yeah. And also the backwater will, just quietly is underway with it's been optioned. So it's fingers crossed. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
no,
Yeah,
that's
it's lovely.
great.
It would be great to see it on the screen. So
Oh gosh, yeah. I could
mm,
totally see this as a limited series on one of the streaming
yes.
or even a movie, but I think it would really play out well in one of the limited series.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
is the plan. And I mean, these things fall over all the time, but for
yeah.
now we're just hopeful. Um, yeah, I'd love to see it obviously filmed here in Australia and bring that River Murray to life.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Well, I'll be sending good vibes out there the Hollywood way and
thank
or
you.
wherever, you betcha, you betcha. Well, folks, when this episode airs, the Backwater will be out, so be sure to order your copy today. You can check out Vicky's website at vickiwakefield.com, and that's Vicky with two K's and an I. What social media platform or channels are you most active on?
I'd say Instagram probably the most at the moment. I am staying off socials as much as possible because
Yeah.
I'm easily distracted and I'm on a bit of a deadline. So I'm trying to get this book written. But yeah,
Okay.
Instagram I will tend to give updates mostly.
Okay. And is that just at Vicky Wakefield is your
At
handle?
Vikki Wakefield? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thanks a ton, Vicky. I really appreciate you joining me. It was great talking to you.
And likewise, lovely to be with you today.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
congratulations on your new release. And yeah, we'll keep our eye out on the streaming services and hopefully it'll pop up here in the not too distant future.
Thanks, Tracey. Appreciate it.
You betcha. Many thanks to everyone listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll be back soon with another great read.